Hey, we are live. Live and late, and that's okay. Welcome to the Red Shirt Crew.
Well, mine's more orange, but
Well,
it's
yeah,
very comfortable. Yeah, it's very comfortable, and it's very cold down here. So, uh, yeah, I'm hoping my shirt will keep me a little heat off the shirt there.
yeah, I know, right? I'm
Welcome
sporting
to a
the
winter.
Voltron.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you got a blazing sword. At least you can keep warm that way.
It's very, very true. It's been very cold lately, like bitter cold across
Yeah.
everything.
Well, it was 9 degrees this morning when we got up here, and we had to go out and scrape off the car and move one car so the other car can get out. And it was up to 17 when we went out. That was about the highest it got here up until around after 12 o'clock.
I want to say it got, well, right now I'm looking at the phone and it's currently telling me it is 30 degrees out. It might have gotten a little bit above freezing, and today's the first day it's done that since this whole snowstorm thing hit. So it's been like in the single digits almost for a whole week. It's crazy. It's so cold. We still have snow on the ground that's still melting. I've seen people posting pictures all over the place about getting snowfall, and I'm like, yeah, it's there. It's everywhere. Just drink your hot chocolate, your hot tea.
Yep, just stay warm.
Yep, about the only thing you can do. Um, but yeah, hey, welcome back to another Plasticast for those that are joining. It's gonna be me and Don tonight. Um, Not sure where Brett is, but I do know Sideburn caught a cold chasing little red cars out in this weather, so he's sitting out for the night. So, um, yeah, we're going to talk about toys we never thought we would ever see the light of day. And one of the biggest ones that has boggled probably everybody in the Transformers mythos and universe, design wise, was a Liege Maximo. And how the heck could they pull that off? Because it, he's kind of weird looking. He's kind of almost like a tentacle monster in a way, right?
Yep.
And it's kind of odd how they came up with his design. I'm going to show the picture here, but what do you think of this thing, Don? Like, do you think the horns should have actually attached to the back of his head, or should they be behind him, almost like he's on a throne himself?
Really, the only thing I've ever dealt with him was that one panel at the end of Generation 2 when he shows up. I know he's appeared in other media and other formats, but I'm not really familiar with them. I mean, he's a Cybertronian jet thing
Starship.
and a starship, yeah. And I mean, I can see this sitting on the shelf beside Axis and the troopers from the Target 4 pack. I think I think it looks the part for a G2 character. Um, hope I just I don't know how he should look really because while we saw him was sitting in the throne at the end of the comic, so I think it's fine. The horns, it's a little distracting as far as where they are in robot mode, but they could be positionable that we can't tell from these pictures. There could be a hinge or a pivot. I'm not sure. I can't tell. But to be a Cybertronian thing that has a robot mode, I think it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, it doesn't look right because he's never really had a thing to look like. So I think he's fine. I mean, when it comes down to it, as a character we've never had before, that a lot of people like you have been wanting for a very long time. It's another Generation 2 character to fill in that slot. So I'm fine with them as long as once we get some in-hand pictures and he actually has what details there are, what paint is there, and they don't go like This is the painted sample. You'll get half of this stuff,
Yeah.
or it'll be all colored in plastic, and the plastics won't match. I don't think green has as much trouble as yellow on matching, but again, I'm not really sure on that.
I mean, we've
But
seen like back when they did the Alicon, which is
mm,
something we thought we would never see. And that design, like the colors they used for that green, I think matched pretty well.
and I think if the greens don't match, it's not as much of a detriment as if the yellows like on pick any sunstreaker past G1 and look at the yellows. That's more of a like your eyes are drawn to the mismatched yellows, whereas with the green, I mean, look at an alligator or a crocodile. They're going to have various shades of green on them because of the textures and because of the skin. So I don't think it's as distracting for green to not match as it is, say, a yellow or even a red.
Yeah, that that's one thing. Like, I don't actually mind the two different colors of green they're using here, because it kind of shows a G2 had extreme stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, so it doesn't look distracting and out of place. I always thought maybe those were horns on the back of his head, but maybe they're not. And honestly, if they're not, it's kind of weird, and I kind of like it because it's different.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, can you tell? Does he have a G2 Decepticon symbol? I can't tell from the pictures
I
I've seen so
don't,
far.
I do not see one, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he wouldn't, because
Oh,
he,
branding. I mean,
right,
they're going to have, they going to want to keep a consistent branding, and even though he wasn't a Decepticon per se,
yeah.
having one on there wouldn't be a deal breaker. I was just wondering if there was one or not.
I think it'd be interesting if there was, but if you follow his like lineage, he's a lot like Unicron and Dark Nova. He just is a being that is there. He's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
out there, which I think is why the Starship mode works so much better than the artificially generated tank thing that they came up with.
Yeah. Well, I mean that I'll be honest. If that wasn't actually a real thing, I don't think I would have minded. I mean, I like this better, obviously, but I mean, it looked interesting if nothing else for another tank. But yeah, I mean, I hope this guy. Is this a Voyager? Is this a leader?
It's a leader
What size?
class.
It is leader class.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I hope it does because they've been doing really good stuff with like even though it needed a lot of paint, the Optimus Prime, the Nemesis Prime that just came out, the Fallen, Megatron, Studio Series Megatron, Studio Series Optimus. They've been doing a lot of good things with the leader class price point. Is it worth 60? Pushing it on some of them
Yeah.
with the new pricing structure, but I hope it does do some interesting things to make it feel like you're getting because it looks like you don't get any accessories,
Yeah.
but the blaster and the gun.
Right. What it looks like is the gun itself. Those little translucent bits. Are you familiar with the book that um, Simon Furman did afterward in order to close the G2 mythos?
What
There's
alignment?
yeah, alignment.
Yeah, I've heard about it for years, but I've never actually been able to read it.
There are
Actually I
places
keep
online you can find it online.
yeah
Actually,
I keep forgetting to go look for it, which is sad. I know, but I can't think of everything.
that's okay. But there's actually another picture of Liege Maximo, and what looks like those three rockets that are in his barrel, those are actually pulled directly from that panel.
Now, the gun he's holding, the barrel looks very Galvatron shaped.
Well,
I don't know if that's.
the translucent parts are actually supposed to be rockets that fire out
Oh,
of
okay.
the gun barrel. The gun barrel is basically kind of that squared off type of thing.
Okay.
Um,
All right. It's kind of hard to tell in this picture, and I haven't seen anything more expansive than this one.
right. But the thing is, with this, the way it's designed, it looks like those translucent parts are that. And if you actually look at the inside of his forearms, he's got a bit of translucent parts in there, which to me, I think those just flip around for the starship mode or something like that to fill in the bottom. Um, but the texture on this, because I'm looking at the picture's got so much texture on it. It gives it that biomechanical organic feel that is extremely proper for his character. Because it's kind
Mhm.
of like when you looked at Unicron, the way he was paneled up and stuff, he was different than the rest of the Transformers. He wasn't so blocky. It was almost like he was aged and older,
Yeah.
and almost it's kind of like Vector Prime. Just has that kind of feel to him. And
So,
to me, I think they did an amazing job with what I've seen here so far.
so is Leech Maximo? Is he one of the primes? Is he?
He is.
You know, okay, because in my head, Liege Maximo and Megatronus sometimes seem like they're the same character, but they're definitely different characters now.
Yeah, they are
Okay.
different characters. I remember in the IDW comics they brought Liege Maximo back, but they made him almost like Loki from Marvel, and that just did not fit his character because the way he is he's supposed to be a manipulator, and in the G2 comic, he manipulates Jaxus to build this Cybertronian army to basically build a network throughout the entire galaxy of basically mechanized planets like Cybertron.
Yeah.
He fools them into doing all this. Well, Liege Maximo pretty much would just like assimilate. And I've seen some people talk about there's a couple frames in one of the older G1 comic books dealing with Liege Maximo where all you see is kind of like this shadow silhouette face.
Hmm.
And so there's some people speculating that he created the swarm that was in the G2 comic that caused so much destruction.
I thought the
But I
no
don't.
the swarm became the Vok in one theory, correct?
It became a what?
The Vok.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but always like I don't know. It's because the way the G2 stuff is so not explained as well as it should be. Um, always it was always in my head that the swarm was just an entity that was floating around in out in space, and somehow it was aggravated and decided to turn into almost a disease that would affect Cybertronians and literally destroy like molecularly break them down into nothing after a while, much like what happens to Jaxus in the comic. Um, but the thing is, to me, Liege Maximo was probably him and Jaxus. To me, were always more powerful than Galvatron, more powerful than Megatron, pretty close to some of the most powerful beings that were Cybertronians. You know, because if you read the comics, you can see Jaxus. Also, another figure thought we would never see a accurate toy of. um, he was just so ruthless and destructive that he even defeats Megatron in his super tank mode that he becomes in G2, which is insane because this is after everything had happened in G1, you know. And it's like, it's crazy knowing that's how powerful Jaxus really was, and it took a swarm to basically destroy him. Really kind of puts like the bar much higher than it really kind of hits higher than the Matrix power. You know, it's nuts. Um, that something like that would take that for him to just turn into nothing. But Liege Maximo just kind of just sits back and watches it all happen. And
Yeah,
in alignment, it explains a little bit more of that. It's been a while since I've read it, so I can't really quote everything that's out of the alignment
yeah.
thing. But
But I'll yeah. But when it boils down to it, we're getting another G2 character. It's a mold that we have not had before. I don't know who this could become. I'm not sure. Just sitting here, what character they could reuse this mold for. The speculation I'm hearing is this could be a Unicron of some sort.
from
Maybe,
Prime, the Prime Unicron,
possibly, with the horns there. That's kind of the obvious low hanging fruit. I mean, I like it. I would like to see a transformation video of it before I make a final decision. But I think in my head on a G2 shelf with G-Axis and the troopers and stuff, I think he will be really nice. Probably this will probably also drive up the price of that 4-pack even more if you wanted more generic G2 troopers to go with this. But I like it. I like it well enough.
I do too. Um, Thinking about like, because something I've noticed on all the primes, they have put their emblem. The prime actually has their own emblem on them. Um, I mean, I can't really tell by from this picture. It doesn't even like because I was looking at maybe even like his belt buckle maybe being the emblem might be on there, but I don't see that. So this could be a pre-production sample where they actually haven't tampoed that on the area. We don't know. But he'll probably end up having his own emblem put on him somewhere. So I know that's been kind of a running thing on every prime that's come out. So I'm not sure where it would be on him, but I don't know. I'm excited about it. I think it's extremely awesome, and I've been kind of chomping at the bit for a while for this thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's on. It's been on the short list for a lot of people.
But another one that we wanted to talk about, and this goes into like really really strange.
This
Yeah,
yeah, this goes into Transformers Collectors Club TFCC era, right after Brian Savage and FunPub got the license back in 2006, 2005.
yeah, 2005,
It was the year 2005.
which is kind of ironic.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're talking about Nexus Prime. Um,
Yeah.
when I looked at this thing, this robot mode kind of reminds me of that old Action Master of Mainframe. Was it? I think his name was
Mm,
Mainframe. That they eventually turned into Teletrain.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's that. The vehicle mode reminds me of a lot of things. A inner pretender robot jet mode, Cloudbreaker from the clones, the red ship from Voltron Vehicle Team, the Air Team, the
Mm-hmm.
red that became Vehicle Voltron's best. Just very. I'm not saying it's simple, but it like everything scattershot. I guess you could think of maybe sort of maybe not scattershot. This transformation is very different. Power Dasher.
Oh yeah,
The chrome and red Power Dasher, where the arms go up and then the legs swing up.
yeah. You're talking
But
about the flying jet one,
yeah,
the
yeah.
jet dash. Yeah.
But for those who don't remember or don't know, Nexus Prime. This is what the Fun Pub subscription figure. If you remember Fun Publications, 2006 and on, each year you got a figure that was part of the club offerings for being a member. And this was the last figure released. If you remember the Bruticus from Energon, the middle robot was a missile trailer. One of the versions was called Barricade. It was this color, but that toy. So this is what looks like, now correct me if I'm wrong, this looks like this is going to be a torso that you can make other combiners with from previous sets.
It looks like a inner torso from what I've seen. See if I can find a photo of that real quick. Because the robot mode, or sorry, the jet mode, let me show it, flash it up real quick before we can move on to that. When I saw this, it did look, it reminded me a lot of Metal Hawk's jet.
Yeah, Metal Hawk, Cloud Raker from the clones, Power Dash. It just looks like everything just sort of folds up to the center and the legs fold around, because it looks like the back of the jet is maybe his waist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure. It's just,
And as I look closer to this, it looks like the guns come off much like they did for Metal Hawk, where they had the fins on the guns. So, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and I think it may be taking some engineering liberties from Silverbolt.
oh great, here comes the silver. It's a Silverbolt retool all over
Slightly,
again.
maybe.
Maybe.
Well, the waist part looks a lot like that.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense if they're pulling some of that engineering, because he is a torso bot.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no scramjet with this. So
No.
I don't. Part of me wants to think they're doing this for two reasons. One, they're wanting to add more playability with the combiner robots that are already out. And two, I would like for them to maybe do what FunPub did, and over the course of the next year or two, we'll be seeing deluxes in this color scheme, so that you will be able to make the combiner, its own thing, or you can do it with existing figures, because that would mean, a lot of extra playability and Easter egg for the fans. It could be, and if they stick with the original toy, the two limbs were mirrors of each other on the arms and on the legs. It was the same tank, same helicopter,
Mm-hmm.
just different colors. So there's two recolors right there, basically almost like aerial bots, but even more so. At least the aerial bots had some individuality. The original ones, they were the tank, and each tank was a mirror of each other, just different colors. There was no remolding. There was no difference between them. Same thing for the helicopters.
So this is actually an official image. Took for I forget who it was. That actually put this up, but he did apparently get a hold of the toy, put it in torso mode. It looks a lot like, he attaches much like Silverbolt. That's why I kind of drew the whole Silverbolt thing.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really, really cool to see, like you said, the other characters come out in the appropriate colors. But I also saw somebody post a thing referring to, remember the Micromaster combiners?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I have those.
Has that wing thing going on.
Yeah.
This can almost work even for any of those, which I would be absolutely floored to see some crazy offshoot thing happen like that with combiners. That would boggle my mind.
Yeah, I find it interesting that you've already basically got, if you reuse Vortex and you reuse Brawl and put them into the correct colors, you've got the same tank helicopter ready to use for this thing. You know, so I think that's what we're looking at. Is we're looking at a backdoor combiner to increase uh, playability throughout the line, and also just to give another nod to the history of the brand through the TFCC toys.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you on the whole thing. If they really would come out with the other ones in color and the same colors, because I mean, there's no reason to not reuse the molds you already have.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, you've got Brawl and Vortex, which is tank and helicopter. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, there you go.
And they can both
It's-
become. Well, wait, can Brawl even become an arm?
No, no, Brawl is
Okay.
definitely there's no scramble ability that I have seen anyone post. It's just they're kind of what they are because of the frame system.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, I think if you tried to work in the scramble ability with what we're already seeing in these figures, they would have been a lot less than what they were to achieve that.
Yeah, I think it's this. This kind of just blows my mind that they would do something like this. And um, like remembering how Superion goes together, he's got that framework, and then Silverbolt kind of just sets down inside of it, which is kind of crazy. If we're gonna have interchangeability like that, that kind of brings a whole new structuring system to all the combiners at this point, where it's got its own built-in frame.
Yeah. So, I think there's going to be more to this than just this one figure because it doesn't have to be. They don't need to release any other characters. But you know what this really reminds me of?
What's that?
Remember when they released Betatron, which was just the scattershot Combiner Wars torso by himself, so you could make your own combiners using the Combiner War toys.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking this could be. If they don't do the other four figures, which, like you said, I believe they could because you've already got the two molds to recolor. This could be just something to add playability. So if you don't have a whole set, if you have a kid and he or she doesn't have the whole set, but they got one of this, one of that, one of that, one of that, boom, playability, using your figures, making it with your imagination. So could be that.
That's very, very true. That I agree with, because back when Combiner Wars came out, it was much like that too. Unless you bought the box sets, you had to
Yeah,
get everything individual.
yeah, and that scattershot mold was it? Well, it was a Cyclonus mold done as a sort of a scattershot looking robot that you could stick anybody on.
Yeah. Actually, I
So
think it was a Silverbolt one.
was it Silverbolt?
I
I
think it
thought
was
it
a
was.
Silverbolt re-
Okay, I'm
retool.
thinking of yeah, I'm thinking of Cyclonus from the I don't remember. I'm old.
Yeah, well, there was two versions of the Cyclonus mold. You're thinking of the one from I
The
want
Grand
to.
Galvat
Yeah,
the
the
Grand
great.
Galvatron.
Yes, that one,
Okay.
the Great
Okay.
Galvatron version. Um, they
Okay.
did slightly. I think they changed the head sculpt on it or something. But with the scattershot, I remember they changed the wings on the scatter, well, for the Betatron slash um, scattershot mold from the Silverbolt mold. But here's the thing: like, if they use this as a segue gate kind of thing, since I've been having problems trying to get the G2 Motor Master out, do you think this may have the potential for them to use that as an excuse to try to do that, and then maybe bring G2 versions of Superion out behind it?
The problem is that G2 Motor Master is going to push 89 to 99. It's going to eat up a commander spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a for people that aren't trying to complete G2 Minosaur, or even know about G2 Minosaur. That's a hell of an ask on a stand with what they're going to see as a standalone figure. Uh, if we see Motormaster, I think what they may do is they do like they did the Arctic Hiss. Do it as a made on demand figure. Maybe it and the remaining G2 Stunticons
Wild Rider.
just to fit, yeah, just to finish out the set. That way, I don't want them to do a box set with everyone that's already been released just in a set, because that makes the one. In order to get that, you'll have duplicates of the figures you don't really need anymore. So I would hope they don't do that, but I can't see any other way of them getting a $90 to $100 Commander class figure out unless they decide to pair it with Wild Rider through what they did with the Arctic Hiss, just to get it done so people can have it in a way that they're not out so much money trying to sell it to people who don't get it.
Right. And honestly, that probably is going to be the way they're going to do it. And the fact that they're talking about weren't they actually even hinting toward maybe a Defensor after this, after Bruticus is completely finished for this new framework system? Because if they do that, that'll give us a secondary use of maybe the helicopter, or maybe it'll give us a whole different helicopter, which could become yet another, like you said, limb for Nexus. I don't know. It just seems like with combining, I still think like the way they did combiners in the past, the way they're doing these, this is cool. I think I love this. I love the head sculpt on Nexus. But I don't know, how would they, do you think somebody would just buy different colored figures that they would just put on the shelf, or do you think that would have to be something they do online, because it's such a deep cut figure to finish out an entire combiner that looks like a normal Nexus Prime?
So, I mean, this is definitely a wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. So talking about figures that we thought we would never ever see, Death's Head was a toy I thought we would never ever see, which we did end up getting. But
In Marvel Legends, yeah.
yeah, which I thought was interesting. Do you think we'll ever see a transforming version of Death's Head in the Transformers universe? Like, since they're doing crazy deep cut stuff like this now.
It really wouldn't fit to give him a Transformers body. If they were going to, there's rumor to be an upcoming Studio Series 86 Kranix. Maybe if that does come to pass, they could do that. But I think they want. I think they've gotten mostly past trying to slap names on unrelated characters to keep. You know, they were real bad about that. Armada, Energon, Cybertron, that whole 10-year period.
Mm-hmm.
They were just reusing names left and right on characters. And then they went through the brand unification right around when the movie came out in 07, that they were trying to make sure it wasn't always flawless, but it was kind of more of a synergy on keeping the name with the characters for the most part that they fit. I don't see a need to have Death's Head as a transforming character. He never transformed in any media that I know of. He never had that kind of body. If they do something in the future through Skybound and they bring him into it, maybe that version would have a transforming body that they could use for the Kranix 4. I mean, I don't read Skybound. I've not read. I haven't bought a comic other than the Dungeons and Dragons animated series comic in probably 5 years or more.
Yeah.
I've just gave up on comics. I never thought we would see a DevCon. I never thought we would see a well and true official DevCon. And using that blur mold, he's beautiful.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that was my toy of the year just for it existing. Yeah, there were other toys that were bigger or did more or were fancier.
Right.
But getting a figure like that DevCon that just looked like it stepped out of the screen up from the Gambler was just overwhelming. You mentioned G-Axis earlier.
Hmm.
He's not exact. He's not 100% perfect, but he is so damn close to actually just looking like what Furman and Wildman and everybody involved with the G2 said put on paper. Uh, Other characters, we've gotten so many deep cuts. Magmatron,
Yeah.
Big Convoy. I mean, yeah, we can say they're on the list of characters that we know they would like to do, but actually seeing them come into existence is still kind of weird. Um, this design team and the team before it really are aware of the lore, and I think even though they have so many constraints on them now, more so than the past with pricing, budgeting, and everything else, we can make educated guesses. All of us have been doing this a long time. We have enough contextual information to make very good educated guesses, but we'll never know what they face. Lenny with the Collectors Club kept saying at the round table what he had to go through with a paint deco. This paint was too much. This paint was too much. You can use this paint, but it's only like XYZ number of uses. And this head sculpt will cost too much. This head sculpt is fine, but it, da 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 da. Basically, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in this case.
Right.
So I don't know what I think. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more deeper cuts, like Liege Maximo, like Nexus Prime. But I think it's going to be where it makes sense in the wave, as far as balancing out a wave of figures to come in at budget. It's like, back during Prime. This is my theory. I have nothing to back it up. But I think the reason that Arachnid toy was so terrible and simple was everything else in the wave needed a sacrificial lamb to get made.
Hmm.
And that's why you have so many great Prime toys. And then you have this Arachnid, which was very, very bad. So again,
Well, you
that's
like
my
the idea her hand just like flipped back and that's it. And it was flat.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are people that said the Legends class toy, and by Legends we mean Micromaster or slightly
Core
bigger.
class, yeah.
Core class but a little smaller was a better figure than her deluxe. So
It was.
yeah, so I think we're going to be seeing a lot of really interesting things that we're kind of expecting, but we're kind of not. But I think it'll be based on the wave it's coming out in. So we might see X before Y, even though Y would make more sense.
Hmm.
I was talking to XV on RFC a few months ago about Hook and Long Haul, and they couldn't have been leader classes because they would have been even simpler than they are now. And there's not enough mass to make them a Titan.
Hmm.
So they had to be that commander, and even then they didn't quite. Yeah, they didn't feel like Motormaster.
No.
But that's the only way they could get that figure out. So they're using the price points they have to get out the figures they want if it makes sense. That's why I don't think we'll see that G2 Motormaster released as a standalone, because if you don't know who G2 Motormaster is and you don't have the other Stunticons, it's going to be a $90 who is this and why should I buy him?
Right. No, I
Yep.
that's something that I've been trying to figure out in my mind, like how could they possibly finish it? Because it's one of those things like when you start a set, you need to kind of finish it, kind of thing. You
Well,
know?
they've been, well, Aaron Archer, it went all the way back to when Aaron Archer, he says, we know there are characters that people want to group together. The Seekers, the Insecticons, Reflector, you know, what throttle bots. You don't want to buy just one throttle bot. Um, so we want to. How many years did it take them, the original class Insecticons? 3 or 4 years to get.
I think I lost you. You're cutting out.
Hey,
Internet.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're
Can you hear me
fine.
now?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the
Oh,
internet.
okay. So whatever sets they do, I think they know we want to see it completed. But it may be a while again fitting of that figure that costs that much to sell for that much in this way. There's just so. I keep using this example, and the younger people may not understand. When we were growing up, we had these little slider puzzles.
Hmm.
It was like 12 pieces in a little enclosed frame, and you had, well, it was 12 spots, but 11 pieces, and you would move the pieces around. Just imagine a flat Rubik's cube, and you're having to move a piece, to move a piece, to move a piece. So you might move one piece over here, move 4 pieces later to get the one piece into place. That's what I think Hasbro is doing, is that they have to look at all these moving pieces and plop who they can afford to make with the projected earnings at that cost, at that retail, in this wave, and it makes sense with the characters you're releasing.
Hmm.
I don't envy what they have to go through. We There are problems with Hasbro, there's problems with every company,
Yeah.
but with what they have to go through, and we get the stuff we've been getting, let's keep an open mind about how they're able to do this. Because on top of everything else, you have these safety concerns that you have to hit.
Hmm.
You know, your average third party company doesn't have to meet that.
No.
Loki's has to meet it, but on a different level. Yellow Park has to do it on a different level with a different set of constraints. So, well, they gave us this character over here. Why don't we get it over here? Is it the same safety measures? If you go online and you look up safety Megatron, you will see the G1 Megatron in blue, yellow, black,
It was orange.
orange.
Hmm.
So he had at least 4 to 5 colors on the original G1 Megatron. When they released that picture that it existed, even that at that time couldn't be made with the safety regulations. And that was 10 to 15 years ago in a god awful color scheme that nobody would expect to be a real gun.
Hmm.
And even that wasn't good enough at that time. So you can only imagine what the safety regulations are now.
Yeah. And to be
So,
honest, the way that toy turned out itself, getting one that's so accurate in robot mode, the only thing that I think a lot of people complain about is his fusion cannon being a little back heavy where it shouldn't have been. But
yeah,
I mean, it's almost like they could have built like a inner slider to slide the cannon forward, which would have helped it a lot.
yeah.
But um, for them to be able to take that engineering they did and have a tank literally just hide in his legs
Well,
is
no.
absolutely insane.
I'm talking about safety Megatron.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm talking about like the
Yeah,
newest one, like making
yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know
I
for
mean. Oh,
people
I
to get
totally
an
agree.
accurate Megatron to
Oh,
the
yeah,
screen today
yeah.
versus
Yeah, in robot mode, you would be hard pressed to say that's not G1 Megs, because in
mm,
robot mode, it looks like G1 Megs, but there's no way he's never going to be a gun again.
mm-mm.
He's never. They couldn't even do the Nerf from Classic. They
Yeah.
couldn't even do the Nerf version now.
Well, the thing is, you remember when they repainted like the Takar version of the Nerf one in classics it
Yes.
was in Megatron colors, but it still looked crazy. I
Yeah,
remember that toy. That toy was great. And when I
it's
personally saw the safety Megatron, I myself took a knockoff Megatron I had and painted it to make it the
those
safety
colors.
Megatron.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think what we have, what all of us that are Transformer fans have to do a couple of things. One, stop comparing third party to mainline. It's it it's apples to zucchini. Not even the same fruit.
mhm.
Because third party has a lot less constraints, a lot less checkpoints they have to do to sell you a figure. Does this paint have lead? No. Okay, let's ship it out. Versus small part, sharp part. I know people that bought several early third party figures and cut themselves
Mhm.
because the weapons, the swords, the fins on the figure. I think some of the earlier Seekers had these super where they have the tail fin and they have that little rod on top of the tail fin.
Yeah, the
I
piano
saw
too.
I saw yeah, I saw people posting pictures bleeding when they were trying to put those on because the points were so sharp.
Mhm.
So we need to stop comparing third party. You can compare them in terms of I like what this one did, I like what this one did, but you can't say well third party is better because of course it's going to be better for the most part. You don't have 90% of the same regulations you have to hit. And two, while we should hold Hasbro accountable for some things like what happened with Omega Prime,
Mhm.
that was a made to order figure. They had time to make sure they get it right. And while I did get my replacements from Hasbro, which I sincerely appreciate, all they did was rerun the same toy and then do the fixes that everybody had been posting 6 to 8 months prior. So it wasn't a new molded part to fix it. It was them just in the factory, some poor people having to shave it down, and even then that didn't work. So when they do something like that, you need to call them on it. But remember, most of the people we interact with have nothing to do with those decisions.
Mhm.
It's all way up here. So temper your ire and reserve it for the people that made those decisions, not the people, because those people will never interact with us. It's these people down here, the people that love the toys, that love the fans. They don't deserve the grief.
No.
And I'm sorry. I just feel like that ties into these characters that we're getting.
Mhm.
That and one other thing. I'm sorry about being on a soapbox.
That's okay.
Everyone needs to stop screaming. Well, that stole my spot for my toy. You've heard that, haven't you?
Many times. Many
Like,
times.
oh, why are they doing that? That stole a spot. It could have been for something else. It's that toy that they could make at that price for that retail, make the money in that way. Maybe it did steal a spot. Maybe the toy you wanted to go there couldn't fit in that wave. Maybe that toy hasn't even been designed yet.
Or
So,
maybe it was never on the table.
or it's on the table, but it's like column A, column B. Here's column C, which is your extreme, probably not, but we
Mhm.
want to do them anyway. So I think people just need to remember that.
Right. Like I think like when we talk about that like stealing spot thing, um, back when they did, I want to say it was Titan Returns when they did the Overlord, and then they did Black Shadow. Everybody's like, well then why'd we end up just only getting a little head for Thunderwing? And I'm like, did you expect him to do Thunderwing from that same mold too? It really kind of wouldn't have made sense. A Black Shadow barely makes sense with that mold. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys remember the old classic one? Those were actually phenomenal toys, still
Yeah.
are today.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like them to revisit that style of those two. Maybe in a blue Baracus would be nice to see. But it'd be nice to see those guys fleshed out in the modern sense. So that way people can actually get those and be like, oh, well, all I wanted was Overlord. In a lot of ways, I think they could have just stuck with Overlord and maybe did two different color wave variants. One for the European version, one for the Takara version, which there was a slight color change in the
Yeah.
purple,
The
right?
yeah, the thing is though, we've seen them do that in other toys, and you wind up having two very similar toys on the shelf at the same time, and it's like, whereas at least with the other version, it was stylistically and visually very different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have like I've gone to stores and seen G2 Blue Grimlock and reissue 86 Grimlock on the shelf side by side. So it's like you don't want to have too much of that going on as
Right.
well.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, like you're saying, Still's a spot. That's actually, to me, like a perfect example because I heard so many people complain. Like when they found out that they had the little Type Master Thunderwing head, and it's like, well, where's the rest of the body? You know, and got all mad about that. It's the same thing when they did, what was the, they did like a diecast version of, what was it, the Rodimus head?
Yeah, it was in one of the it was in one of the black box select. I
Yeah, one of
don't
the
remember
select
who.
sets, like the big
Yeah, because
sets.
the Ultra Magnus head came with the RC and Daniel set. I don't remember who the Rodimus came with or the
Didn't it come with
it
the
was
one with
it
the
was
laser combat, or with laser prime?
I don't remember.
It's
I
been
don't
so
remember.
long.
Yeah, but yeah, so stealing a spot on the surface has merit, but when you think about it, it really doesn't make a lot of sense because of all the other factors involved. So we don't need to be saying, "Well, hey, you could have gave us this because da 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 da." It's like, well, maybe we can, but if you keep complaining about it, why should we?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I know people were chomping at the bit for a new Metroplex because a lot of them skipped out or didn't care for the aesthetic of the one that first come out.
Yeah. Well, again, it was when
And then,
it was the video game version. Yeah.
right, and then you got people like me that's like, well, it is Star Convoy. How they possibly could they do a Sky Gary and a Grandis? They would probably have to do it as a 2-pack set to sell it because only people are going to buy it are guys like myself that know, or that are into those Japanese ones. That's why they did Big Powered as a 3-pack back when they did that set where they reused some of those molds.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep cut, that's why. And I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you with the engineering side. It takes a long time to build these things, and it takes a long time to figure out who's going to fit in that slot proper to make it so it's enticing for people to buy, but also not make it so it just sits on a shelf and never moves because nobody knows who the heck it is.
Right. And plus you also have to look at their past experiences with all this stuff going to Ross. They don't. While that wasn't their original goal,
Uh-huh.
and maybe it was one of their suppliers. It was something in the distribution chain fell through, and that's where it wound up having to go. It is a bad look. Go to your local Ollie's. Look at the sheer amount of Marvel Legends on the shelf. Yeah, I can go down to my local Ollie's and buy so many What If Captain Carters. I could fill a buggy.
Yeah.
So they're trying to avoid walking the tightrope between scarcity by accident or planned scarcity and overproduction.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have this stuff. What happened with the Velocitron capsule with Cosmos and that wave originally? Out. Why did Walmart bought the wave? Walmart never sent it out to the stores. They canceled most of the online orders, and then it shows up at Ross 8 months later.
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro probably had nothing to do with that because they already sold stuff to Walmart. But it still makes Hasbro look bad, like they can't fulfill their orders. But it's gotten to the point where
It's a
you can't
distribution
trust.
issue.
It's a distribution issue, and you also can't trust online orders anymore. You order something from Target, it gets canceled. Order something from Walmart, it gets canceled. Order something from Amazon, it gets pushed back or it's shipped 3 weeks early.
Mhm.
Although I will admit, Amazon is usually pretty good about notifying you when dates and stuff changes. So I do appreciate that. With with Pulse, you'll get a notification it's shipping soon. It ships in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So
And
soon
sometimes
should
doesn't
be
ship at all. They've been canceled before too in the past.
right, right. So again, I think right now with the world technically being on fire and everything that is going so wrong, we all just need to take a collective breath and chill the hell out. Yes, it should not be this hard to get people money for toys. I've been saying that for 20 years since online shopping became a thing. And what we had to go through with Nemesis Prime and Hasbro Toy Shop, Matty Collector collecting DC Universe classics, some of these boutique uh, companies like that footwear company that got that Optimus Prime or something
Hmm.
early and sold out in like 5 seconds. We're getting some really great stuff. We just need to be a little calmer and let it happen, but call them out when it's needed and justified, not because your butt hurt because your figure didn't get made because of some nebulous reason.
Right.
I
I,
had to ask. I had to ask for Headmaster RC for how many years? 25 years.
how many times did you stand up and ask for it? Like that.
Every single BotCon from 1994 to 2016. It was a joke. I was at a TF con a while back. This was a while back. Aaron Archer was there. When he started taking questions, I said, "Hi, Mr. Archer. My name's Don. You may have heard of me. Yeah, I want to ask you a question." And this was after the Daniel and the Archer had come out, and the room started laughing. It was the same question I've been asking for 25 plus years. But he said, "Yeah, Don, I know you. I've heard of you." I said, "Okay, so you know what I'm going to ask." He said, "Yeah, you already got it." I said, "Yeah, thank you." I sat back down. But yeah, it's I can't do that again because I'll probably be dead by the time that happens. If I do that, I've been wanting a Jack of Hearts Marvel Legends. I've been wanting Power Pack. I've been wanting Slingers for Marvel Legends. Things like that. How many years have I been asking for the purple flying Decepticon Griffin from Aerial Assault? So
Yeah.
I have to pick my windmills that I tilt at now because I'll be dead for any of that stuff comes out. Or I burn a regeneration, and then the next me may not even like it.
Yeah. Like
Other,
the only thing I've even seen remotely even fits that thing was the one time I saw that it's on. I want to say it's on 3D Colts. Somebody actually has it so we could print
yeah,
that
yeah,
Griffin, and it's
yeah.
big. You can.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
huge.
it's huge. It's huge. I'd be happy them taking Commander Skylink, just recoloring it that. But that's
Dude, just
anyway. We're getting off topic.
I was about to say, if you want to get another Commander Skylink, send it to me, and I'll paint him to make him look like the Griffin for you, and then send it back. Maybe I can get a 3D printed head or something for him.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this Legion Maximo I think looks really good. The Nexus Prime I think is a really on a wait and see kind of thing. I hope they do the other limbs. They've already technically got them with Brawl and Vortex. You can do that. Um, you know, I think this is a great time to be a Transformer fan. Versus if you're a Turtle fan, you're going to have a lot of uncertainty in your life on that.
Uh,
If you're a Power Rangers fan, you're
uh,
you're hurting already. Uh, so yeah, let's just wait and see what happens, and we'll just go from there.
yeah. Um, I did want to mention something though, because there was a list of figures that's supposed to be coming out. One of them there had mentioned a combiner, and I'm like, somebody an instantly knee-jerk reaction. They were like, well, they're probably going to take the Nexus Prime set out as a box set with the other two. And I was sitting there and I kind of shot it down and said, that's probably going to be Monstructor because people have been talking about a Monstructor for a very long time. So, talking about figures where you never get, figures that haven't had any kind of modern redo other than third party, was Monstructor. And he was kind of a mainline type of thing, so I would say that would probably be the one figure I would like to see within the next few years come out.
Yeah. I mean,
what would be your one pick?
well, one pick. What? Any character, a combiner? What?
Any character.
Okay, you want a really out of the way one?
Go for it.
Banner from Marvel G1's 17 and 18 Return to Cybertron when they made him into the literal space bridge. And you can connect it to the Ark and to the Nemesis. And he has a robot mode similar to the holographic Autobot that Hound created in Heavy Metal War, which is the family home version title of the first episode with the Constructicons. That's my out of the way thing, is an actual bridge that you could connect the Ark and the Nemesis for display purposes, and has a robot mode similar to that holographic Autobot. So you got a Marvel G1 reference. You've got a animation G1 reference. You've got a character that's never been done before. So yeah, that's like my ultimate. If they ever make that, maybe I'm in charge of Hasbro and I do it in my sleep. I don't know. Maybe I'm sleep. Maybe I'm sleep managing.
Maybe that is actually that dude's alt mode because I always wondered what the heck he turned into in the cartoon. That almost makes sense now because he didn't even have a name. He was just a dude.
Yeah. Now, I may be wrong. I'm old. I misremember a lot of things, and I'm old. But I believe JT Prime, who we all know, JT Prime, great guy, very reliable source of information, said that was on a data mined list, maybe from somewhere. I know that's the equivalent of, hey, I got an uncle. Trust me, bro. You know, I know that's that same level of trust there. But yeah, so that would be kind of cool, and it would be like, I know there was a 3D printed one. Bobby Skullface reviewed it a while back, and I just remembered that because I forgot about it. So I just said that.
Did it actually transform, or was it just an action figure?
I don't remember. I just don't. There's so much content and so little time to watch it. So, but yeah, I mean, I would love something like that Autobot or Spanner or just. I mean, I'm getting the Omnibots from X Transbots. I'm just waiting for Camshaft to be released.
Mm-hmm.
I would like mainline Omnibots.
Mainline throttle bots.
Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool. I don't know how much mileage you could get out of this, but if they used Bumblebee, Lift Jumper, Goldbug, the Brawn mold, I don't know who you would use for wide load being the dump truck, but I think we have enough body shapes to maybe do a 6-pack of throttle bots. Goldbug will be obvious. It's just a basic recolor with a new head. It could be done, but I think it would be done better with them being as individual releases, or if you could do selects, if you could do them in packs of 2. Again, that's what I want to see more than anything else is Killing Jar figures with those inverted colors. That's something else I really would like to see because we have all the toys other than Marissa Fairborn, and if there's a GI Joe figure out there that they could put in there, like in with the set. There's that.
Oh, they had done
Um,
a Melissa Fairborn figure. I
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
Didn't they do that?
yeah,
And it came with what was it? Afterburner as his bike?
yeah, yeah. Afterburner. Yeah, it was a collect. The Afterburner didn't transform.
Yeah.
It was one of the very last Collectors Club exclusives they did. Um, I just didn't really care for it, and it's gotten so expensive on the secondary market. It's not worth looking at for what it is. But yeah, that's. But again, tomorrow I may think of something different. It's you never know. It's just I have a short list of things I would like to see before I die. But I've got Daniel and RC. I've got Daniel and RC. I've got a Marvel Legends Thunderstrike in the 6-inch figure. I've got a DevCon. All things being equal, I'm pretty happy with what I've got.
Yeah. And when I get this Liege Maximo, I'll be extremely happy because that's the one figure I thought I would never, ever, ever see. But going back to the throttle bots, something popped into my head. Since you don't have a dump truck yet, you can also do him as landfill, the Target Master, and then
Hey,
just
yeah,
recolor
actually,
him. That would be the last one. I think that would work if they got around to doing him.
yep, again, let's wait and see what. I mean, that would be a good use of the mold. The target masters would need to be gated off from the mold to rerun as wide load. But it could be done. It could be done.
Then the question is, how will they do quick mix? That's the question. So that's the big
Yep.
one. That one and scoop. Maybe they'll do it as a 3-pack, as those three together, and then later on just do wide load by himself to finish out a Throttlebot 6-pack. That'd be cool. I think it would be interesting to see them do box sets like that. I know it's not probably ever going to hardly happen here in the States. It'll probably be more of a Takara side because they tend to be doing more of the bigger set things. But I don't know. One can dream, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think we kind of hit all the topics today. Got our wants and dream figures out there that some people would like to get. If you guys are watching this, throw down your comments of what you guys want to see, because we'd like to know what everybody else is really wanting to see in the fandom that hasn't made it out of the Hasbro think tank yet. Because there's a few there that need a little more love, need a little more acknowledgement. But you got any more closing thoughts before we bounce?
Everyone just stay. If you live in this band of weather we've been having, stay safe, stay warm, watch out for your neighbors, watch out for the local pets, throw your bird seed out for the birds. If you've got stray animals in the area, feed them if you can. Try to set up a shelter if you can. If you've got a carport or someplace, you can make a little warm spot for them. Just everyone, just watch out for each other as best you can.
And look out for cats, because cats love to hide under wheel arches and engine bays during this time of year when there's strays.
Yeah,
Get in your car,
that's fair.
honk a horn, it'll scare them enough that they'll run off, usually, before
Good-
you
good
start
point.
the engine.
Good point. Good
Keep
point.
this in mind, because that does happen. But yeah, you guys take care of each other. Try to stay safe. Try to not get sick, especially with all the craziness that's going on. I myself been having to take allergy pills because my sinuses have been all over the place.
Yep.
But anyway, we're going to say goodnight, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.